Hi, thanks for watching and welcome back. So we've been still working with eighth notes for a little while, and the last couple of examples we've done were in 4/4. So now I think it's time to start varying this up a little bit, and I'm going to start dealing with some kind of stranger time signatures that you might not see all the time because I want to sort of I want you to get the concept of a time signature, and I want you to get sort of what the numbers mean and what the different characteristics of a time signature are. And since we're working on eighth notes, I think that now is a great time to introduce actually a very common time signature that you will absolutely see, and that is 6/8 time. So let's kind of talk about this a little bit. So the eight, so the bottom number to start out with. If you remember, kind of the rule for thinking about what gets the beat when this bottom number, or depending on what this bottom number is. Remember, we just take the bottom number and put a 1 over that number. So 1/8, which means that what gets the beat in this exercise is going to be an eighth note. And we know that there are going to be 6 beats per measure. And there are kind of some interesting things about the way 6/8 is grouped, where this is telling you that there are 6 eighth notes per measure. And a lot of the time um, when you see a piece in 6/8, and probably I'll do a. Actually, you know what? I should probably do a presentation on dots, on dotted rhythms before I jump right into 6/8 time like this, and I'll actually make that video and I'll put it right before this in the playlist. But what you will still see in 6/8 time sometimes is you will see an eighth note and then equals 120 BPM, beats per minute. So you will still see that, and it means that you've got 6 eighth notes in a measure. And kind of what the way that these are grouped together in a measure of 6/8, most often in a measure of 6/8. If you remember, we had kind of talked about beaming notes. I did a video on beaming notes, and that video was mainly for working in 4/4 time. But in 6/8 time, we'll beam together groups of 3 eighth notes. So let's just say, and we'll make this part of our example, that our first measure is going to have 1, 2, 3 eighth notes, like that. That's how we beam in 6/8 time. We beam together 3 eighth notes like that instead of 2. So let's say that's our first measure, or that's our first. Those are our first 3 eighth notes in the first measure, and then the second 3. And I'm going to write this in kind of a bit of a new way. So we've got an eighth note, then we've got an eighth note rest, and then we're going to have another eighth note. And look at how I'm going to beam these. And that's a perfectly acceptable, I guess, form that these could take on. I can absolutely write it this way, where I've got a beam going over a rest. So, and that is completely equivalent. I'll just do this in another color. Down below, do it in yellow. That is completely equivalent to me writing that. That's exactly the same thing. So, it's just that we've got a beam going over top of the rest right now. So, anyway, I kind of want to make sure that you're used to seeing that because you will probably see more often this figure when you see it in 6/8. You will more often see it this way. So anyway, that'll be our first measure. And then how about for the second measure? we will actually make this our dotted quarter note. And I did, right before this, I haven't done them yet, but I just realized I should, that I'm going to do a playlist on what this dot means. So hopefully you've seen that right before this video, what this dot after a note means. And then let's say we just end with 3 eighth notes. And there, that's our example. So, and we'll just end it like that. And let's say for our tempo, let's say we're going to, the beat is going to bump, 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 bump. Let's say our tempo is going to be eighth note is equal to 120. And the way we're going to group these, and I'll do this in blue right now, but sometimes you'll hear people refer to the big beat versus the little beat. And that's pretty much meaning, so our big beat for this, and you can kind of see with how I've written this, I'm grouping the big beat into groups of 3 eighth notes. So this is going to be our big beat. That's our big beat. This will be our big beat. That's another big beat like that. And then the little beat I'll do in yellow. So then the little beats are just all of the individual eighth notes. So you'll sometimes you'll hear this referred to as the subdivision. And then we've got 3 of these over that dotted quarter. Then we've got 1, 2, 3 right there. So those are our little beats. And so we have three of these little beats equal, write this in, equal 1 of the big beats. So anyway, that's kind of, I'll try to explain this a bit more in depth in some further subsequent videos. But anyway, let's try putting on a metronome and just seeing if we can sound this out right now. And I'll actually just write in, I'm just going to number the big beats for right now and see how well we can do with that. So we've got 1, then 2, 3, 4. And real quick, because I've got time, I'm also going to put in, oh, this is going to be weird. It's going to give me that. So I'm also going to put in our upbeats. And in these big beats, if you take a look, we've got downbeat on 1, but then we've got 2 upbeats. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and actually, geez, I really messed this up. Those shouldn't be 3 and 4. Those should be 1 and 2 again, because that's a new measure. 1, 2. Ugh. Brain's not working right now. Sorry. Red. Okay. So then in this second beat, we've got downbeat, no upbeat, no first upbeat, but we do have a second upbeat. And then here we've got downbeat and 2 upbeats. So anyway, I'm kind of running out of time right now, so let's see if we can just get to doing this real quick. Set this to 120. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. So that pulse is the eighth note, remember? So anyway, I'll kind of sound this out. 1, 2, 3, 2. Bum, 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 ba, bum, bum, bum. Okay? One more time. Bum, 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 ba, bum, bum, bum. Okay? I'll actually do another video on this because I want to also set the metronome to be the big beat. So hopefully you found this interesting, and I'll see you soon.